Welcome to Let's Face the Facts, the rewatch podcast for the classic sitcom, The Facts of Life. Join us each week as we synopsize, analyze, criticize, and ultimately idolize the show. And now, here's your host of Let's Face the Facts, the wonderful David Almeida.
Thank you, Matthew Arter. Welcome back to another show. Thank you for downloading and pressing play. This week, we have what they used to call on the Carol Burnett show a family show. That's what Carol always called it when she just had Harvey Korman, Tim Conway, Vicki Lawrence, meaning no guest star. And that's what we have going on here. It's just me and Matthew, and I hereby dub this format of show, whenever we do it in the future, to be a Fambily Show. Matthew and I watched Season 7, Episode 19, called Atlantic City, and it had an original air date of February 15th, 1986. Let's jump on in, huh? Let's face the facts with me and Matthew.
I have a few notes, David, but I'm not going to hate on this episode because it is Season 7 Full Tilt Boogie, where they are outrageously ridiculous, and I was here for it.
Well, hello, Matthew.
Hi, David.
I said we were starting. I didn't realize you meant you were starting. Wow. We're getting going into this.
Sorry, I'm like I'm like the wonderful Judy Garland. You say it's showtime, and that's when the flip switches. Or the switch flips. That's what happens. I don't know if you know this, but before I do these with you, I listen to the Garland overture that ends with The Man That Got Away.
Oh, okay.
So it pumps me up.
Okay, that's your big.
And then to come down, I like to listen to Mae West singing Great Balls of Fire. I don't know what you listen to, but
yeah. Well, to get me psyched up for the podcast, I always like to put on a little bit of Jack Jones and yeah, any of the Jack Jones, and then coming down, it's got to be Bacharach, man. It's got to be.
What's that all about, Alfie?
Well, we have quite a show to discuss, a show that had a lot going on, so much going on that I don't think there was room for a guest to appear on this podcast with us.
There was so much going on, David, in this episode that was weighing heavily on me, was having a guest. But also, at this point, we didn't have a guest for the first time we met Flyman.
Mm-hmm.
So now we would not only have to explain that, yes, the girls are older now than the last time you were here to whoever, but also Joe has this twin that she is in love with. So
don't you wish they could have somehow done like the way Shields and Yarnell or Sonny and Cher would dress in the same sort of unisex outfits? To kind of make them look sort of the same but different. Wouldn't it have been fucking great if we could have gotten Joe and Flyman?
I would have been happy with the Lucille Ball Harpo situation with the two of them. Like, I mean, Jesus H. Christ, David.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But you're right that trying to, and I wish I had the time, and I literally, I'm working a lot this week. I wanted to go back and watch Fort Lauderdale show, the vacation, to do it, because after watching this, my first thought was, wait a minute, wasn't Flyman kind of a like man out in the cosmos and feeling the vibes? Like wasn't he that kind of a dude?
Flyman was, but Stewie Lyman is apparently not.
Something brought him out of orbit and fucking fast.
Yeah, a weekly paid gig.
Yeah,
which I think we can all relate to. God knows.
I have no idea what you're talking about, man.
Well, oh, you don't want this character? You want this one? All right. I'll sign up for it. I'm here.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. Yes, please, Mickey, may I have another? So we are discussing Season 7, Episode 19, Atlantic City, which had an original air date of February 15th of 1986, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, it is probably better known as and should have been entitled The Return of Flyman.
Mm-hmm.
And first things first, could we talk about the name of this character? Because from minute one, the first time his name is mentioned, when Tootie sees it in the newspaper, I believe Tootie says, "Oh my gosh, Flyman is playing in Atlantic City." And Joe says something about, "Oh, wow, I wonder why Flyman didn't call me."
Flyman.
Joe keeps calling him Flyman like his name is Fleischman, like the guy who owns the Florsheim shoes. She makes it sound... There was a stand-up comedian back in the 90s who used to do a thing about at the birth of Jesus. Oh, they brought gifts. Who brought the gifts? The Wisemen, the Weissmans? Ugh, I hate the Weissmans. They give terrible gifts. That's all I could think.
That's the comment I wrote down. It's not like the Wisemans showed up at the birth of Jesus, just like Flyman is not showing up in this episode, Joe.
Joe,
who was the script supervisor? Not one person was like, Joe, it's actually not Flyman, it's Flyman. Like
Flyman. Yeah, like a man who is also a fly.
Yes.
Do you see what he did there? Okay. But yeah. I mean,
like you don't say, "Oh, here comes Robin and Batman." Oh, I can't wait to see the new Man of Steel, Superman.
And of course, don't forget Spider-Man.
Don't forget the Spider-Man and the Aquaman. Oh, we got Flyman.
we just had Steve Pernick on, and now all of our idols here are actually Jewish. And that's, I mean, not that that's a bad thing, but yeah.
I love her. It gave me a tick every time she said it. Every time it came out of her mouth. Consistently said it. Like, now, that's a choice, Nancy. You made that choice.
Okay, well, since our first go round with the Flyman was, yes, we did not have a guest. I did have a guest, Matthew, and it was you.
Oh my goodness, that was me.
It was.
And so now that I'm the guest here, does that mean I get to give you the TV guide plot line for it?
TV guide synopsis, not even going to set it up. Go.
In this episode of Facts of Life, Blair gets lucky in Atlantic City.
Oh, gets lucky. I see what you did there.
Mm-hmm. See what I did?
Very nice.
Yeah. And some other stuff happens, apparently. But for me, Blair walked away with this fucking episode. And this is why I still give it 5 stars, David.
Oh, Lisa Welch, I mean, hits it out of the park.
She's so fucking
tour de force.
Funny. I love her so much.
Yep. Tour de force performance. Yes. This episode was written by Academy Award winner Paul Haggis. Okay. And it was directed by the Emmy Award ignored John Boab. And okay, it's okay.
Who was the assistant director? Who is in charge of saying to her, "It's not Flyman"? Would it be the script supervisor or a writer? I would guess Paul Haggis might show up on the set and be like, honey, it's not Flyman. Anyway, we've made our peace with it. It is what it is. She's going to call him Flyman. We just have to accept it.
For all the shit that you give me obsessing over the girls' ages,
this is one episode of one word that is a very important word in the episode, David.
I'm sorry. I am feeling so connected to you right now.
Oh, David, do you want to take your shirt off or something? What?
I'm good.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, though.
All right.
So we're at the store. We begin the episode with the store, and we have this mass exodus where they're like, they hired...
Oh my God, David, get out of my ass. I wrote down my first line is mass exodus from the store. Where's the fire?
Oh my God. Because there's like, it looks like 10 people. It's probably 6, but it's a lot because we know Over Our Heads is not really built and designed for customers.
And we all know how it is to work in retail when customers look at their watch and go, closing time, better leave.
All of them just
They have so much concern for the people working behind the counter. It's like people that show up at a restaurant 5 minutes before it closes. So I just did love the mass exodus of the store. It's like, oh, closing time, everybody out. Nobody buying anything. But if you were thinking about it, fuck off. It's out.
And the thing of, people do shop here at some point, but that really is inconsequential to anything we do ever with any of the plots of these shows. It's just a way to show people going and populating the store and then depopulating.
And again, why? I look at it and I'm like, Paul, why did you even set it in the store? This scene did not have to take place in the store. They could have been sitting there. Oh, it's a long weekend. You know what I mean? First of all, why is the store closing for the weekend?
Well, get out of my ass, Matthew. I mean, because that was my thing, is this is not an insurance firm.
Never.
This is not a 9 to 5 fucking thing where it's like, well, Friday, 5 o'clock, who's going to, let's go down to the bar and burn off this hectic work week we've all been putting up with.
This long weekend we've got coming up.
It's like, no, you might be closed on Monday. Maybe if you were smart, because school would not be in session, but all the students would be around. I imagine a long weekend is a very lucrative time to be open, because that's when the students might actually have a moment of breathing room to go out and just do some shopping and anyway, we're in the same page. It's not who's minding the store. It's who's running the store, who said all of them. It's like, yep, long weekend. What are we going to do with it? And Joe's like, I got to do something or go someplace, Joe's getting stir crazy. The stallion girl got to run free,
I'm gonna really let loose this weekend and have a good time.
Oh my God. Again.
Can I ask what the fuck is up with Tootie's hair? I'm glad they put her in a hat for the second half of this episode, but that hair was a nightmare.
So who is sitting in the counter? One of them is
fucking Natalie.
Natalie is sitting in the counter as they're quickly bouncing around this idea of, wow, our retail store is going to be closed for 3 days on a weekend because no one shops then.
And Tootie's practically snuggling her. She's so close to her. She's standing so close. It's like, I love you, David, but if I were standing somewhere and I turned around and you were as close to me as Tootie was to Natalie, I'd be like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Sit up.
Sit over there. What the heck? There's 5 other couches in the room.
Jesus, David.
So Tootie sees in the newspaper that Flyman is playing in Atlantic City. Now, here's the interesting thing. We are later in the episode going to learn that he is not operating under the moniker of Flyman or Flyman. Yet in this advertisement, somehow Tootie sees, I guess, his picture. I mean, that mullet is pretty defining.
I see, and I would have looked at that newspaper article and said, Joe, are you performing in Atlantic City? They've got your picture here. I mean, I know you're a gifted nightclub pianist. So, I mean, it all makes sense, for going by show Bible. But
so true. So freaking true.
But God. Yeah, I did wonder that too. It would have said Stewie Lyman, right?
Exactly, because that's what we learned. We assume that's his real name.
Of all the fucking names to give him.
Stewie Lyman. God bless. Yeah. But it's Tootie who says, why don't we all go down and surprise him and we can take the last bus back? And Blair
setting it up, putting the ball on the tee, letting everybody know I'm about to walk away with this episode, y'all.
What does she say exactly?
She goes, a bus trip to Atlantic City. Do you think maybe we could stop in Trenton?
Or do you think maybe I could just drive us in the car that I fucking own? Blair Warner has a car. Why would you drive from Peekskill to Atlantic City? It is, I think, 3.5 hours. It is not that big. There are parts of Florida that it takes longer to get to from here than it does to go from Peekskill, New York to Atlantic City, New Jersey. It is fucking crazy.
Depending on what time I leave, David, it takes me 3.5 hours to get to your house on the other side of Orlando. So for some reason, Natalie decides, okay, I don't understand this approach, but Natalie was given the reason to believe that she should be in charge of everyone's money if they're going to Atlantic City, because you're not two adult women. You can't. I say two because Tootie's not an adult woman.
No, is not.
I just like if I were Blair, I'd be like, take several seats, Natalie. We're good here. And Blair and Joe, she's got her wallet on a chain, so there's nobody gonna steal that from her. Come on, she's got it in her back pocket with a chain attached to her belt loop.
And her keys, oh, her ring of keys. Anyone? Musical theater, fun home? Anyone? No? Young, budding, lesbian song? Okay, moving on. So the good thing we have in this episode, okay, the bad thing, no Clooney. The good thing we have is we have Mackenzie Aston, so he could conveniently be there to be like, who is this flyman? Who are you talking about? What is all this? And they're like, finally, it's just, he's a rock and roll singer. Joe met him in Fort Lauderdale last summer. True. Thank you. At least somebody opened up the show Bible. And that's pretty much it. And I'm very glad they didn't bring Andy with them. I certainly wouldn't have been too surprised if they somehow figured out a way to also have Andy in tow.
Just sneak Andy in there.
In all the ridiculousness that's about to follow. But it's okay. It's fine. So we've already kind of sort of set up that Blair's plot line is going to be coming, but we basically have an A, B, C, D story for each of the girls in this.
Yeah.
Where Joe, it's the reunion with Flyman. It's Natalie dealing with handling the money and later policing Tootie. Tootie, at this point, they say, well, we can't go to Atlantic City and go to a casino where he's performing because Tootie, you're too young. You're only 16. They just de-aged you 3 episodes ago. And Tootie's like, I'm an actress. I can act like I'm 21.
So that tells Matthew what we're going to get for the rest of this episode is 2 of my favorite things, Tootie and sitcom lying for the rest of the fucking episode.
Yeah. Tootie acting, putting on a performance. and Natalie Tootie, and Blair's it's going to start once we get there. But yeah, we have 4 fucking storylines here that intertwine. I guess I got to give Mr. Haggis his props for at least doing that, but it's a whole lot of crazy WTF stuff.
It's very farcical. I felt for a couple minutes, I was like, this little noise is off in that. Like the way Blair comes running in and then comes running out, and then Natalie comes running in and goes running. I was thoroughly entertained. I was
like, did Faye-Doh write this? Wow. Anyhow, so that pretty much sets up the bits and pieces. They do not fuck around and spend much time in the store getting the premise established, and then just boom, we are in the casino and we got to get shit going with these plots.
Now I love how Joe says, it's been a year, he probably forgotten all about me. And I thought to myself, how could that be, Joe? How could he forget about you? He sees you every day in the mirror. It was borderline creepy, some of the scenes between the 2 of them.
Oh, yeah, because last time we joked that, they have the same hairstyle. Oh, no. This episode, that episode, there were similarities. This episode, they have literally the same hairdo. And it's so weird.
When they were standing next to each other, there was a part of me that felt like it looked like one of those like awkward family photos where people will post them from the 80s where the whole family has the same haircut, like the whole family has the same mullet. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And I was like, they are brother and sister. This is creepier than watching Donnie and Marie, for Christ's sake.
So they're at the casino. I forget the name of the casino, and I forgot to look up if it was an actual casino. Did you?
Oh, I didn't even know they. Oh, it's called the Mediterranean Casino or something like that.
Is that it? That doesn't sound familiar, but okay.
Echo. David doesn't believe me. And I think when I am proven right this time, dear listeners, that I should get like an underwear shot or something. I just feel like there should be some sort of payment.
What did you say it's called?
The Mediterranean Resort, the Mediterranean Casino.
No, it's the Mediterranean Hotel and Casino, Matthew. So
I was so far off. I can't even see where you would see I would take that leap.
We did just look it up, and that is a fictional place. Therefore, the Baltic Room in which Flyman is performing, that is not real either. So the girls show up, and no sooner do we see Blair and Joe, in comes Tootie, dressed with a fur and a hat with a giant feather stick. She looks like Josephine Baker going to a funeral or something.
Yeah, I was thinking the time period. I was like, oh, she's Diane Carroll in Dynasty.
Oh,
Dynasty.
Ding, ding, ding. You are so right. That is a good thing to do.
But like a bus and truck tour version of Dynasty. A non-ac.
The non-equity dynasty tour. But you are so right. And of course, Tootie is doing that whole thing and trying to pretend to bark orders to Natalie because Natalie is her assistant. And I'm thinking the whole time Matthew is in fucking hell right now.
I didn't really get to hell. I knocked on the door when she came in, but I didn't really get to hell until she sat down and started gambling and the whole, we don't call them chips over there. Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Though one bona fide laugh I really did like is where she goes over to the table and he says, would you like some chips? And she says, no, thank you. I'm not hungry.
Yes. That was a great line. And also the button on this bit where she goes, and now what? I take it. She goes, you put your chip down here. Okay, now what? And now I take it. Yeah. I thought that was a funny bit. Like
true. So true. It would have been nice if they had been a teeny bit more realistic and said to her, do you want to hit or do you want to call? And have her go, hit me. Boom. And now I take it. Because it is weird. It's like that he just lays down cards and takes the chip from this table she privately has all to herself.
Oh, yeah.
Like you do at a blackjack table. Natalie is walking around with the funniest, most ridiculous limp. And it's because we learned that she is keeping everybody's money in her shoes.
Yeah.
And possibly her socks, right? But it is a very funny physical bit for Mindy Cohn to be playing.
Any person who has worked retail or any kind of job where they've had to take money has had to accept money from someone's shoe or their boob. And
it's pretty gross. Yep. So at this point, they come and go. Joe is expressing to Blair that she is worried there will be no spark. Joe is being a little vulnerable with her girlfriend now.
Yeah. And what does their girlfriend say to her? You are hot. You are sexy. You have a set of titties that anybody would love. You go out there and you get him. And then you come crawling back to me when he breaks your little heart. That's I'm paraphrasing, but that's pretty much what she said, I think.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah. So then back at the blackjack table, the casino manager, Mr. Julius, shows up and he looks at Tootie and he's like, really? Come on. So he asks to see her ID. Tootie gives it to him and he says, okay, born in 1930 something. So you're 47 years old. And she says, yeah, he goes, well, you look good for your age, Mrs. Long Min Chang. And what is our hilarious button to that joke, Matthew? What does Tootie say?
Oh, it's all the MSG. Oh, what a thumbtack for the time period. Dear listeners that are far too young, back in the 80s, there was a big thing about you could get Chinese food without MSG, or they would put it in anyway. And it was this whole like quote
You still
unquote
see it.
scandal.
I'm sorry.
It's like using trans fat, I guess, wasn't it? I mean,
Well, it's one of those things where I think it got a bad rep. Like it's one of those like, oh, there's a thing that there's an additive that they put in their food, and additives are bad. And it's MSG, monosodium glutamate. It is a thing. It's, it basically enhances the flavor, and it's a common thing that Asians put in their food. And it's all over our prepackaged terrible supermarket foods. It's everywhere in the foods that we eat as Americans with our diet. And yet it became the MSG in Asian food was the thing that got a bad rap. And you still see it. You still see it at Asian restaurants. You'll see no MSG, just a sign in the window or whatever, because that's a leftover from that, where people seem to think it's,
it's healthier. That bucket of sesame chicken is healthier now because it doesn't have MSG on it.
Oh, bless. Yes. So then Blair and Joe go into the lounge, and no sooner had Joe just been saying he's probably not going to remember me. In comes Flyman. And as he turns and sees Joe, he goes, "Oh no, not you."
Oh, if I had a nickel, Joe. Oh God, I felt that with every little fiber of my little being. When somebody turns to you and goes, "Oh fuck, not you." Broke my heart a little bit, Joji.
Well, Joe lies and says that it's a chance encounter, that she happens to be staying at the hotel with the and looking at the sign by the front door, the Nuclear Waste Symposium Convention. And then we get some sitcom lying. He's like, "I thought you ran a gift shop." And she's like, but then he does ask her to go for coffee. And she basically like just bolts, leaving Lisa Welch to be like, "Oh, it's okay. You two kids go on. I'll be fine." Beautifully delivered. And Blair just sort of la 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 looks around, and she takes out a quarter, goes over to a slot machine.
David, she does not take out a quarter. Well, it's weirdly in the slot machine.
Oh, you're right. Or it's like sitting on top of it. Like she finds a quarter.
Yeah, she finds a quarter in one of the slot machines. And I mean, I've been to casinos once or twice, David. If you think any of those motherfuckers are leaving a nickel behind when they collect their winnings, you got another thing coming.
Hell
so I didn't know why they didn't just have her reach in her purse and pull out a nickel. You know what I mean? Like she had that fucking purse with her. It was the prop. It was there.
Yeah. And it's like, well, Natalie has all their money. For fuck's sake, she can have some spare change in her purse, and we're not going to be like, this has ruined my suspended disbelief. I mean, really, come on. So she takes this quarter or nickel, or whatever the fuck it is, puts it into a slot machine, and it wins and pays off. And this avalanche of coins comes falling out of it.
I love that you just said that. Wow, about her suspended disbelief, when I've just talked about how ridiculous it is that she found a nickel in a fucking casino thing. But whatever. Okay.
Exactly. It's like
I wouldn't attacked. But
no. What I mean is that if she had, I'm agreeing with you. If she'd had the thing in her purse, nobody really would have thought twice about it. But I'm with you. Now that you remind me, that I was like, that is weird. She just like went, oh look, money sitting out in the open anywhere in the world. When the fuck does that happen? Let alone in a casino.
Not in a casino, it doesn't.
So then we go to Joe and Flyman's date. And while this is going on, Blair keeps running in and interrupting. This is where we start getting really farcical, where she's like, when does the house hit? At 16. And she's like, what do I play, a king or a queen? And she's asking about all different types. Okay, is black or red?
My favorite is when she grabs him and goes, I need to roll 10 the hard way. What is the hard way? Oh, I loved her so much in this episode.
She was magnificent. And it's all it does beautifully in a short amount of time implies that with those winnings, Blair has started down a path. And
she's so bored with winning. Like she's so bored with it. That's later on, but
we will learn. We will learn. So whatever Joe and Flyman are talking about, we don't really care because Blair is being so hilarious. But Joe was like, well, I thought, come and see you perform your show, And he says, oh, Joe, I've already performed my last show. I just finished it. This is my final night here. And he's like, I'm going off on a world tour and got a meeting with a record company exec. And she's like, oh, maybe we could get together for breakfast after we fuck. Yeah. And he's like, no, I get the meetings at 7 a.m, because meetings happen at 7 a.m. on a long holiday weekend. Yeah. That happens, right?
That is when record executives are most available, I have found.
So, basically, it's like, I guess we're not quite getting what either of us were hoping for. And he is kind of like, sorry. He's not really trying. So the whole thing of Joe's concerns that either he wouldn't remember her or he would no longer be interested in her, we think that those concerns are justified when they say a pleasant and cordial goodbye. And then as soon as he's gone from the room, there's something he left on the table. Like, what did he leave there that Joe had to give him? Joe had to say, oh, he left this here. Let me go back after him. And when she goes after him, she sees him talking to one of the weirdly costumed waitresses with like this Vegas showgirl bra and big feathered headdress thing. And he's talking to her and he's like, so I'll see you at 7. Uh-huh. It's like, oh, he's maybe with this woman. And then he says, oh, and that dark-haired girl, the one that looks just like me, see if we can't get rid of her. Joe overhears him use the wording, see if we can't get rid of her.
Yeah. The last time I heard somebody utter those words in Atlantic City, let's just say.
Did you ever get back into town?
We never saw him again. But you commented on the waitress's costumes. David, you've been to Vegas, haven't you?
I have, but yet it just... I always understood Atlantic City to be kind of like Vegas light.
Like it might have been a little ridiculous, but like that, I feel like in 1984, that was probably what her uniform would have been in a casino.
I guess you're right.
Even now, you go over to Seminole Casino, and the cocktail girls are all in bras and very short skirts.
Oh,
and it's like, and they just walk around going, beverage. Beverage. And you're like, oh no, get away from me.
Okay, I've never been. I should go there sometime. I haven't been to Vegas in a while. I gotta get out of the house more. So with that, Joe is kind of heartbroken, and that's where we go to commercial. That's where we get the cliffhanger of, oh my God, it's not just that he's been kind of evasive. He's saying, let's get rid of her. I think he wants to kill her, Matthew.
Yeah, she's gonna be swimming with the fishes.
Put out a hit on her. When we come back from commercial, we're back at the blackjack table. Blair is sitting there with a mountain of chips. And Joe is dejected and wants to go home because of this whole Flyman debacle. But Blair is literally miserable because she cannot lose. Everything she touches turns to gold. Everything she plays, she wins, and she feels bad. She's feeling like she's basically saying, I'm the 1%. I am already rich and privileged and gorgeous, and I keep winning things. It's not fair because you, Joe, you're plain and uncultured and can't even rekindle a romance with a dude from a year ago.
I almost went back and typed out that monologue word for word because it was so fucking good, Paul Haggis, for writing that monologue for her.
It was.
That was really, really good. But just the fact that she's like, gets a drink and tips her $100, and she goes, she'll probably bring me 200 and change.
Yes.
Her delivery was so fucking good, Lisa Whelchel. She goes, you don't hit on 20 unless it's an ace. And she's like,
yeah. And so that's it. She gets
Okay.
21. Okay, well, since you love that monologue so much, I was paraphrasing. Let us read Mr. Haggis's words aloud as though it were a Robert Frost poem. She says, see, I cannot lose, and it just makes me feel worse. I mean, here I am, rich, beautiful, I can have any man I want, and what happens? Fate just keeps handing me more. And then there's you. You're poor, so looking. You come hundreds of miles to see a man, and he dumps you for a girl in a clam suit.
It was just so brilliant. You're poor, so looking. Just the list. It was, God, I love her so much in this episode.
Yep, agreed. Totally agreed.
You're poor, so looking.
so looking. At least she didn't call her ugly to her face like she has in the past. But yeah. So finally, it's time to see the show. They're in the showroom. I forget by whatever. Well, I guess they're in the showroom because as far as Joe understands, Flyman isn't performing there anymore. And as Flyman understands, he sent his girlfriend to kill Joe, and clearly she failed.
Yeah.
So as they're in the showroom, go ahead.
And then doesn't notice that Joe is actually sitting literally 3 feet in front of him.
I mean, if it's not in the frame, Matthew, it does not exist. But
you had that whole room. Have her standing in the back.
Well, she did eventually climb under the table. Like when the
he's not going to notice that 3 feet in front of him.
The spotlight is in your face, Matthew. You know, it's sometimes harder to see the audience than you realize. I'm going to give him a pass. Of all the things in this episode that are like, what?
You are always giving Michael Damian a pass. Get out of his ass.
And we didn't even talk about this boy that Tootie has connected with. We have this boy named Colin, who has shown up, and he's dressed like a sailor. He's got like the navy blue double-breasted jacket. He has got this magnificently comic fake mustache.
He's dressed as Carol Channing in the 90s.
Without the mustache.
And I wrote down, seriously, fake mustaches. Like, seriously.
But I think that was by design, and I think it was comically right because we see him and he keeps fussing with it. He keeps like pretending like he's doing a little tick, like, moving his hand up to his mouth. But I think he is hilarious. This actor who plays Colin, his name is, by the way, Aaron Seville. And he's got 44 credits and a 44-year career and some pretty high-profile shows. You can look him up. I believe he's still working. But he perfectly plays, I think, that fine line of I'm lying, but there is some sense of mystery of what is going on here. Clearly he's underage, but the girls can't see it, but he's playing it just on this side of suspicious, which is perfect because Natalie is suspicious of him. And Natalie's big thing is, I don't trust this guy. I think he's after Tootie, trying to think maybe going to try to steal her money or something. So Natalie's following them around and, of course, limping because of all the fucking money in her shoes.
But okay, this is where I took issue with that.
What is the issue?
First of all, David, I would have written this to where Natalie was enjoying watching Tootie make an ass of herself, rather than this concern, because she's like, he's after her money. She has no money.
Mm-hmm.
You have all the money, Natalie.
True.
So when you said what, like she's gonna like wire him money out of her huge bank account, like when you're like he's after her money. She lost her money 5 minutes into this episode, and any money that exists apparently is in your shoes.
You're right. You're totally right.
So Tootie really has nothing to lose except her dignity. And I would have written Natalie to enjoy that ride. I would have written her to be like, oh, I can't wait to watch this blow up in her face, you guys. Like, they're going to find out that Kim Fung Toy over here is not 48 years old.
Yeah, no, you're right. And the times when she's saying, the stage asides to Blair and Joe about, I don't trust this guy. I got to keep an eye on him. That totally could have been, okay, if this guy is 16, I will eat my hat. I'm going to see what's going on. Tootie is clueless. This is hilarious. Better than any show they could possibly put in the lounge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay, we fixed that. Okay, good. So then in comes the act begins. Stewie Lyman, introduced as, it's not the Flyman or Flyman, it's Stewie Lyman. And that's where finally the pronunciation makes sense. And he's wearing a sequined leopard print jacket. And he very quickly goes into a cheesy lounge lizard version of tie a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree.
But he can't even play this. Like, I saw what he was doing. It was in the script. But he can't even play a lounge lizard, dude. It's like, Michael Damian, you're just dead behind the eyes as an actor. Like throwing in the haze and the stuff. We get what you were trying to do. We get that the script was written there for you to do that, but you can't even do that. Like, oh, and I know you love him, but
I'm not that. I don't know where you're getting that. I'm so in love with him. I thought he was great.
Flyman.
I love Flyman. I think he was perfectly cast for the way that Flyman was in the Fort Lauderdale episodes, as far as he is a rocker guy and he could play spacey and all that. Yeah, with asking him to do some real acting, and I can't remember if he's already on the soaps at this point. But yeah, his acting, it's like, yep, that's a soap actor. So, and some soap actors are magnificent. I can't make a blanket statement, so please don't write to me. God, the thousands of letters I'm going to get now. But yeah, he's doing this, and then we come back. I mean, the reaction of the girls, where he's doing the cheesy song, and then he's singing "She's Having My Baby," and it's a bass guitar, drums, and a keyboard that's clearly tuned, set up to sound like an organ. So it has that really super Nick the Lounge Lizard vibe. And he ends it with some form of P.S. I love you, and leaves. So Joe is hiding under the table at this point. Blair comes running in, now in a panic. And she's like, Joe, I need to talk to you. And Joe reaches out and pulls Blair under the table with her. Yep. What has happened to Blair, Matthew?
Oh, she's hit a string of bad luck.
The tide has turned. Now Blair is saying, Joe, I've lost $3,000. Her winning streak has ended, and she goes as far as to say, I've lost all my cash, maxed out my credit cards.
It's about $7,400.
74, so it's more than double. $3,000 in 1986 is $7,400 in today's money. Honestly, Blair Warner, $7,400 today, that feels like a drop in the bucket. How is that?
Yeah. And she's maxed out her credit cards. Like,
that's, I think they might have, I mean, granted, it would have been, a Shakespearean tragedy if she said, Joe, I've lost $470,000.
Right.
It would have been hilarious. I'm sorry, but it would have been a bigger problem with a little less issue, with a little less solubility.
They're creating anything that she could have walked back in and said, I just lost my daddy's jet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she could have said anything and like, give me those bus tickets, motherfucker. I got one more thing. I don't know. I thought they could have given her a little bit more than Blair Warner maxed out her credit cards. That doesn't seem likely.
Yeah. And then Joe even says, so call your father. That's what you do anytime you need money. Just call up daddy. And she says, I tried that already. He said to me, you're an adult. Start acting like one. Now he tells me. Beautiful. And that line comes later with the next complication of this storyline. So, but before we get there, Colin and Tootie go for a walk on the boardwalk. This is where Natalie is following. But Natalie's thing is because of the limping, she couldn't keep up with them. So Joe was like, put the money in the purse. You're carrying the purse and you have it with you at all times. And Natalie's like, but that's the first place they're going to think to look. Reverse psychology. They're going to assume it's there and figure I wouldn't have put it there. Ha ha. So with Tootie and Colin going off with Natalie in tow, Natalie does say, all right, Joe, here is the purse with all of our money in it. I'm leaving it here on the table. Don't let it out of your sight. So off they go, at which point Flyman reappears and sees that Joe was there and she saw his show, knows that he was lying to her before. And he says, I was hoping you wouldn't see it. I didn't want you to see that I became a third-rate lounge singer. And while this serious conversation is going on, Blair comes in, holds up a menu, like as a barrier between them and the purse, takes the money out of the comedic, just beautifully comedic physical work from Lisa Whelchel. She takes all of the money out of the purse. They have no idea because they're totally into their own thing. And then later on, next scene, she has lost all of it.
Yeah.
All of it. But so let's talk about Flyman in that, well, I'm a third-rate lounge singer and I didn't want you to see me. I
thought him calling himself a third-rate lounge singer, I feel like he's being kind.
No, stop.
Oh, that's not what you meant. Okay, what did you want to say about it?
What I meant is, how many times have we been a part of a production or a show where someone has said, oh my God, I'm totally going to come and see you in it. And we have said, it's okay, you don't have to.
Oh, I say that all the time to people.
Or you can say, it's not my best work. I don't think we've said that. We've said, I'm not that good in it. I've said, I'm miscast in this show. I'm doing my best and the check is going to clear. That's all that matters. But the fact that I've never had a friend say, I want to see you in that show. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to make up a lie to make sure they think I'm not in the show. And so they don't. Actors, performers, I don't know if it's different with musicians, but we are constantly knocking ourselves down and devaluing our own work, even sometimes when it doesn't deserve it. But it's like, you couldn't have said to Joe, granted, we wouldn't have had a sitcom-like complication, but he couldn't have said to Joe, oh, I don't do the same type of music here that you saw me do in Fort Lauderdale. And I'm kind of embarrassed about it. I almost don't think I want you to see it. All he would have had to do was just predicate it with that. And then with her, she could have said, oh, you're not a rocker, dude? Well, go fuck yourself. I'm going back to Peekskill. That's what I came here for.
But I also take it when I do it, David. I'm always like, girl, I know your time is valuable. Don't take a trip to downtown to fucking Orlando to watch me call bingo, for Christ's sake. People are like, oh, I haven't been in years. It's the same show. So... Girl, it's the hoop-de-doo of drag. Fucking 708. We are singing all that jazz. I guarantee.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, for those who are not performers and those my tens of listeners, those who are not in the arts or whatever, let's make it very clear. This is not what typically a performer would do. Most performers would just fess up and say, okay, the show you just paid money to see me in. I know you bought your tickets last week. Well, I didn't know this last week, but now I can tell you for sure. This show is terrible. And I'm doing what I can. I think I'm okay in it, but I'm really sorry. So bye. Gotta get backstage now. It's almost call time. That happens more often than I think we wish. So anyway, Blair asks for a small line of credit from the casino owner.
Yeah. Another, I've taken out of my suspended disbelief. Yeah. Casinos are always willing to give you free cash.
Yeah. Well, I think they do give lines of credit, but I don't know. Is that a TV trope?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No. They will figure out how to get money from your bank to give to you. They will do that.
Oh, they'll do a wire transfer. Got it. Got it.
But they're not like over there like, yeah, sure. Here's $50,000. Go have fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, the casino manager, Mr. Julius, is played by character actor Tom Dreesen, Dreesen. He only has 19 credits in a 45-year career, but he is a stand-up comic, actually, and he has a crap ton of appearances on all of the major talk shows. Like, we're talking David Letterman, Jay Leno, Conan O'Brien, Craig Ferguson, all that stuff, and multiple return visits. And then I think even more recently, your Jimmy Fallon's, Jimmy Kimmel's, he's got a lot of stand-up appearances. I looked it up on YouTube. There is video of him on YouTube, and it's like, oh, he's pretty funny, actually.
I thought he was great in this episode. I thought his delivery, his joke, his timing was great. I thought he was real good.
I agree. Totally agree. So Blair asked for this line of credit from him, and he's like, what kind of collateral would you have? And she's like, and then
she could have said 4 bus tickets to Peekskill and haven't been like, no, we're good. Thank you.
But they make that a
all
joke.
She's got, right?
But they make that a joke later that, well, at least we didn't, you lost our money. At least you didn't lose our bus tickets to Peekskill. And then someone comes and says, yeah, where's the lady who was looking to cash in her bus tickets? And it's like, Blair. Yep. And by the way, she does say earlier when she loses everything, she says, I am so sorry. And I am never going to gamble again. Right after I break even. I mean, perfect and so true to life. Oh my God, so true to life. But yes, the casino owner, he does a great performance here, especially when Flyman tries to give Blair a recommendation and intercede on her behalf as an employee of the casino to vouch for her. And this dude dresses him the fuck down. Oh my God, like abusive, basically saying, you're a lounge singer. Do you know how hard it is to find one of those in this town? Oh, that's right. Not at all. And he basically hands Blair $1 and says, it was like, here's a quarter, call someone who cares. It was really bad. So Flyman is really, really upset by this. Not that the owner was particularly wrong in theory.
No.
Cruel in practice, but anyway. So he's really upset. He goes in the other room. Joe tries to comfort him. She's like, hey, you're more than a lounge singer. And he says, I sold out for security. Haven't we all, Flyman?
I feel you, Flyman. I feel you.
Yep. So then it's time for his next show. And the guy introduces him. And with that, here comes Stewie Lyman and his intro to his song. This is, again, I'm going to speak the words of Mr. Haggis so you can hear them in all their splendor and their beauty. Life is kind of like a windy road. You suddenly take a wrong turn and you end up in a ditch, hit your head, and next thing you kind of forget who you are. Well, you see, that happened to me. And luckily, I had a friend that had a tow truck that came along and pulled me out of that ditch. And I'd like to dedicate this song to her. And it was written by the one and only legendary, the Flyman. And he takes off the sequin jacket and he conveniently has this funky chain belt rocker thing on that I guess he was wearing the whole time underneath. And then suddenly, somehow, this 3-piece little band is suddenly producing sounds like Duran Duran has just shown up with the entire Radio Shack keyboard collection.
Well, David, those 1986 Casios, they had several settings that all different instruments that they could sound exactly alike. that in no way all sounded exactly the same. You could have 87 choices. I could play a flute. It's strangely going to sound like a pipe organ. But watch when I play pipe organ. It strangely sounds like an electronic flute. So I don't know if I was as mad at that they went from glowworm on the chord organ, knowing how, I'm a musician, you see, so I understand how these things work, David. So
okay, thank you.
Obviously that 1986 Casio. He just poked a button, Dave.
Just poked a button, and suddenly they were fucking Human League. And
suddenly you have an electric guitar.
Exactly. But it's clearly pre-recorded. It is so 150 kabillion% a pre-recorded rock track. And he sings this. I think the song is called "Eyes of a Stranger."
It is. It was on his second album, David, the self-titled Michael Damian album. Not to be confused with his first album, which had the song he sang in the
"She is from a different world." Yeah. How I long to get her into mine.
Yeah. So Flyman transforms in front of everyone. He rips off his coat, and Stewie Lyman is melted away like the Wicked Witch of the West. And then we've got Flyman, and somehow Joe ends up on the stage with them.
Awkward, just so awkward. But before that, we have to quickly wrap up all of these other stories. So Colin admits to Tootie that he isn't 21. He just wanted to be seen with an older woman. And Tootie says, "Really? Well, there's something I should tell you also." "I get it. I was young once too." And off they dance. So he's bought that Tootie is 21, and she's not going to tell him the truth. It's like, okay. Does Natalie technically have a button to her story?
Doesn't the guy sit down with a white guy sit down with a fake mustache on?
Oh God. What was that?
Again, that's why I wrote down, really? Fake mustaches? Really?
Well, yeah, this cute blonde guy with a mullet sits down and asks Natalie if she wants to dance, but they have him in a clearly fake jet black mustache. And so when the guy, who is cute enough, but this illogical mustache is there, he says, "Do you want to dance?" And Natalie says, "I have no more money and my feet hurt." Like, just a complete brush off, not even going to give him a chance. But it's like, so the idea was he was another young guy. Shouldn't it have been a joke about, get back to junior high school or something? It should have been an age joke, not just her giving him the brush off and leaving him to kind of react like with, whoa.
Yeah.
That was very weird. And I don't think it landed the way they thought it did, as far as they were trying to draw another fake mustache joke, but it did not work. Absolutely not. And then Blair is still down on herself for losing everybody's money. She did, we learned, try to cash in their bus tickets. And Joe is nice and just says, "Look, it's fine. We'll get home. You'll pay us back. It's just, we'll work it out." And again, for Blair, $3,000, that's like, she probably has that in cash under her pillow or something. Remember that episode where it's like, if there's damage to my father's car, I have to buy him another car. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And Mrs. Garrett said, "Blair, you can't do that." And I wanted Mrs. Garrett to tag that with, "Can you? Like, are you that fucking, could you just write a check and buy a, Mercedes or a Porsche or whatever?" Because I suspect, no, I don't suspect. We have been led to believe that Blair is that filthy, stinking, fucking rich. But whatever. So Blair and Joe have made up. And then, at the end, the final bit of Blair's, do you want to tell the story of Blair's, the final moments of Lisa Whelchel?
No, what's that? I forgot.
Well, she finds, Joe gives her, I think, a quarter.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
She gives her a quarter.
Yeah. So in forgiving her, Joe gives Blair a quarter, and then
and she sets it down and says to a strange passersby, she says, "Here, I don't gamble anymore." And the bitch puts it in the slot machine and hits a jackpot. Blair comes over and beats her up.
She starts choking her. The woman, clearly a stunt performer, starts flailing her head in her hair. Like, it was the woman doing all the physical work there. It was not Lisa Welch choking her, but it was broad. It was like, fuck, man.
It was exactly the button for Blair's storyline. I loved it.
It was like, here, take this money. And that's my fucking money. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So it was, very, very broad, cartoonish, perfectly on brand with this crazy, wild episode. And here we are.
My final thought is that was Emmy worthy, at least nomination for Blair Warner in this episode.
As a comedic performance, regardless of the writing, yes, agreed.
I think she was great. I think the lines she was given, she single-handedly made this a 5-star episode for me, David.
Yeah. The thing we've talked about before is that everything was so out of whack. Nothing was particularly grounded or sensible. So therefore, I do have to say at the end of the episode, I have to say, I think I used this term before. I guess it was just a 1986 fever dream of craziness, of broad cartoonish silliness. And I didn't hate it. There's a lot going on and there's a lot of little persnickety WTF moments. But when all is said and done, I think, the Blair performance is the thing that throws it over the top.
And not even a mention of Mrs. Garrett.
No.
They didn't even say like, oh, well, we could close the shop. Mrs. Garrett's out of town for the weekend.
Yeah, she's not going to wonder why 3 days of retail income hasn't hit the books yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, season 7. You're just a big old bucket of surprises. You are happy. You are happier than a pig in poop, aren't you?
Oh, I just love it. It's just so ridiculous.
Yeah. Yep. I could have used some Clooney. Clooney would have been the only thing I could have thought that they somehow could have added into this performance. I don't know how, but.
What do you mean you don't know how? He could have fucking gotten there and like he could have been the one striking out with all of those cocktail waitresses.
True. So true.
That could have been the story. Andy and him trying to like Andy sneaking around and him trying to, I don't know. They could have gotten Andy up there like, I made it in. And George is like, and we're making you out. You know what I mean? And Andy's like crawling and scratching at the women serving cocktails. And George Clooney's picking him up by the ear, like walking him out. Like, I don't know. But they already had Tootie doing that, playing like, I don't know. Anyway,
they could have had them. They could have had the two of them in fake mustaches trying to pass off that they're like foreign twins, like have them both say, we are twins and we are looking for pretty young sex ladies. And
well, that's just ridiculous, David. Come on. It's got to be, it's Facts of Life season 7. There has to be some semblance of reality. How dare you suggest that they would be that ridiculous? I can't. You're going to end on that note, David. Seriously.
Okay. Wow. Well, all right. I've invoked the wrath of the Matthew. So with that, I think we need to say our smooches and goodbyes. And I've enjoyed this. I got you all to myself again. This was a nice little.
See the things he says to me, listeners? See? Got you all to myself. How am I supposed to take that? Ugh.
Well, we have a guest coming back next week. So
all right.
Take that as you will.
You have to share me again, David. I like to have new guests because then I get to see you get jealous.
Do I?
This has been fun.
Yes. All right, my dear. Until next time. Mwah. And there you have it. Next week, we're going to be watching Season 7, Episode 20, The Lady Who Came to Dinner. You can watch the show ahead of time at dailymotion.com or on Pluto TV, I will post links in the show notes and on this episode's webpage. That is all for now. Thank you so much for listening to this week's show. And remember, the facts of life are all about you.
Let's Face the Facts was created, produced, written, hosted, and edited by the wonderful David Almeida. Our theme song was beautifully arranged and recorded by Ned Wilkinson. Please visit FaceTheFactsPod.com for supplemental photos and videos, links to social media, and ways that you can support the show. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. This is Matthew Arder saying tune in again next week for another thrilling episode of Let's Face the Facts.